Hey guys, my name is Titan and welcome to the 30th episode of Vedastein. And it feels great to say that, and it feels great to do this episode now. As I said in the last episode, Vedastein is finished. And I got many questions about that. No, not the project and not the map is finished, but the town, the municipality of Vedastein. So to say, the core of this project is finished. But there is still a lot of things to do, or there are still a lot of things to do on this map, like more vineyards, the big palace and industry and narrow valleys, and there is so much stuff I want to do on this map. So no, the series is definitely not over. But as the town is now finished, I want to make this 30th episode of a sort of milestone episode where we look back on areas way from the beginning and from earlier episodes, compare them, how did they look when we started the series with an empty map, how did these areas look in comparison when we made them, and how do these areas look today. So I prepared a couple of before and after shots and a couple of cinematics that show you, like here the station now, and basically the areas we built in each episode or in earlier episode, but now with the city in the background. Things I see constantly, but you never saw the station with the city in the background. So this is what we do this episode, and here is the first before and after shot. So yes, you see this episode is quite a bit different, but I think you really like, or you also really like to see the progress that we did throughout these last 30 episodes. Now in this video today, or in this episode, I only focus on the city itself, not on the village we did and other things not belonging to the city, because focus on today is the city and how it developed throughout these past 30 episodes. And I have to say, it's some great progress we made. Of course, there were other series that are much faster and other creators that build faster, meaning they do more in less episodes, but also they have a more stable schedule with really weekly episodes. But it's always my problem that I have an idea and I notice it's just not the right asset on the workshop, and back I am creating this asset I need. So that's why Vedastein always is, takes a bit more time, because many assets I actually make for the series. So now we saw this district here in between the old town and the station, so let's go into the second before and after shot, showing you how this square here came into life. I love these before and after shots. Well, what we did roughly, of course, after the episode with the theater square was the big waterfront area. And when we did the episode, nothing was there. We had the waterfront and that's it. No castle in the background, no old town in the background. So I hope you like to see now the waterfront with the old town in the background, which I think really looks great. And imagine you come by ship to the town and look at this. It really makes you feel well. And here now is the third before and after shot, where we see at the beginning there was like nothing, meaning on the empty map. And when we made the waterfront, you see here still it's basically nothing. And yeah, you see that also quite a lot of thought went into this whole city. That when I saw the waterfront, or when I made the waterfront, I clearly had in mind how the city would look in the end. Even though it took, I think, 10 or so more episodes to finish the Old Town, or maybe even 20 more. I'm not even sure by that point. So after we made the waterfront, I still was making Renaissance house after Renaissance house after Renaissance house, because I needed those houses for the Old Town. And that was about the time when I did the hospital here, and the valley sort of behind the hospital here, because I needed some filler episodes to fill the time I need to create these houses. And I still think it really works well with the hospital here and the Old Town there, and all that. It doesn't feel out of place, it still feels connected. And yeah, I really hope you also like this. Also, of course, this video is great for everyone who is new to the series and who hasn't watched the earlier episodes, to also get a glimpse of how Vedastein looks and how all the other areas of the city look, not only the one we are working in each episode. I think it's great to see the city as a whole, at least once. It's also great to see the buildings like the hospital I did much time ago, to see them now in with the whole city in the background. It's great, and I think you feel the same too. Now this is what I basically did one episode later, I think, or after that, and that is this valley. And we will have a lot more of these narrow valleys, of course not all looking the same, but a lot more of these narrow valleys in the series. And yeah, I really like doing that, and every valley is a bit unique because of the curvature and if there's a river and how steep it is, so it's really fun to make those, and it's of course fun to work with the terrain. What's more interesting though is, look in the background now, there is like nothing. The city doesn't even exist. And if we go one step further, this is how it looked when the map was created. It's basically nothing. And it's great to see how this empty land transitioned into my baby of Vedastein. I really am proud of this city, and I definitely love how it turned out. And looking now from here, from the end of, well, not really from the end of the valley, but from the southern end of the city toward the city, it really looks great. After that, I decided, well, I should go back to the Old Town-ish districts, and that is when I made the city park. And also the city park was quite of a filler episode in itself. Of course, I still didn't have quite the right assets for the Old Town, and so I made the city park to still gain some time. But also, I still remember it. You see the street on the lower half of the screen now. I imagine this street to be some Art Nouveau street with impressive Art Nouveau buildings. Yeah, I made like 2. And by now I made like 2 more. So that didn't quite work out. So you also see sometimes I I want to do more things than I can actually do, which of course I'm not doing this as a full-time job. I still have uni and all that. It's just my free time activity, and so of course I can't put all my time into it, and so sometimes I do make compromises and use other buildings, but that definitely isn't the case everywhere, which you see in the amount of videos throughout these. Is it already 2 years? I'm not even sure, to be honest. But of course I can't do an infinite amount of filler episodes, and at some point I actually started making the Old Town, which in itself just I think took 4 episodes for the lower Old Town, and then 5 episodes again for the upper Old Town, which is just insane. In 10 episodes, or almost 10 episodes, other YouTubers would do whole cities, and I'm just making an Old Town. But yeah, that is me. But if you're stuck with my channel through this time, I think there is something I do right if I have so many viewers that watch my rather strange videos almost every week. But yeah, and you can see when you look at the lower Old Town and then at the upper Old Town, you can see that there is quite a big difference in design choices, how I made the streets, how I decorated the streets. So you can see the learning curve or the learning process I had even in this series, which also is on one side interesting to see, on the other side kinda bothers me because I now know that older areas could look much better. Now you see with each step we do, the difference between, or the difference in the before and after shots grows smaller and smaller, and that is of course due to the fact that we come closer and closer to today's Vedastein. And you also can see that this episode is coming to an end. It is a really short episode this time, but reason for that is just making these videos is really time consuming, because loading every old save game, or many of the old save games, and making a cinematic and then loading the next one and making the same cinematic, and it really takes time. And so I'm sorry this is such a short episode, but I really hope it brought some old areas back into your head that we did over a year ago, and I really hope you like how the city came out, because I am really proud of how Vedastein looks. And yes, it's my baby. It looks great. And there's still a lot to do on this map, trust me. This series won't end that soon. There will be maybe even another series going parallel to Vedastein, but Vedastein won't end that soon. So this last shot now is the end of this episode. I really hope, and I really do hope, you liked this sort of experimental before and after recap, whatever episode. Please write it in the comments if you like this episode, so maybe I can do the same at, I don't know, episode 60. In any case, also write down how long have you been with the series. I'm really interested to know how long you stayed with me. That's it for this episode. I already said, if you liked it, if you liked it, like it. If you want to know more about the city and if you want to follow the progress we made in the city, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get in touch with me, or of course others who follow my work, the Discord server is in the description, so you can join there. You can of course support me on Patreon, and I would really love that. It gives you small rewards like early access to assets and videos, if I can make it of course. And by that, a huge thanks to all the people who already support me on Patreon. You are amazing. That's it for this episode. Stay with me in the next, who knows, maybe 30 episode. Have a nice time, take care of yourselves, and see you in the next episode. Bye.